Rolling.
Welcome back to another fun-filled episode of the Catch the Sky podcast. I have Dick Francisco back for another episode tonight.
I can't believe you keep letting me back.
I know.
What happened to Saif? Should we be concerned?
We are protesting Saif. That's what is happening tonight. We are protesting Saif and his bullshit.
I am in.
Oh, it sounds like you came prepared, so let's hear it, Dick.
Yeah. So this guy, right, says he's a Man City fan. And not only is he completely bailing on the biggest game we've got in the Champions League that's coming up, or has probably already played by now. And then he says, oh, I've got a wedding in Vegas. I'm not going to be there for when we win our championship. I'm protesting Saif. Not to mention this podcast. He's invited me on a few times since. And, you know, maybe I waited until I got the invite from T. I'm protesting Saif.
I'm certainly sure that that's how he's going to interpret it.
100%. If we're being honest here, I was busy every time he asked. Mm-hmm. But I do like the story that I maybe put my foot down and said, no, I'm not doing the show with you anymore until
I'm just going to show up and take it behind your back.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. If you recall, the last time we were on together, all three of us, you guys made the point that you thought that I suddenly got a taste of fame and was going to go on a solo career. Mm-hmm. I didn't, everyone.
No, she was just plotting.
You thought I was plotting for it. And I think Saif got a little nervous about that because he kept inviting me. And I was like, I have other obligations.
Uh-oh. And they let his guard down. And here we are.
He let his guard down. And here we are. We're protesting Saif, right? And
it's the timing couldn't be more
this
perfect.
was a pleasure.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Welcome back.
I don't really know. What do we need that guy for? I mean, really.
And you took
I've got the 5-year-olds covered.
And you took his fan club as well, right?
I did. I totally took his Man City fan club. He got a message the other day that I sold his seat at the bar for our game. Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
He's out.
Well, it sounds to me like Saif's getting canceled.
I know. I mean, that's what happens when you claim to be a lifelong fan and you don't show up when it counts.
I guess so.
Are we starting a hashtag for this, T? Is there a hashtag for this yet?
Uh-oh.
That'd be great if he came back to a hashtag.
Hashtag cancel Saif.
Hashtag cancel Saif.
He's going to fucking lose it.
For the record, he canceled himself.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. This is... We are in for an episode today. I can't wait.
Earned.
No. We are not actually protesting Saif and his bullshit. But protesting is going to be our theme for the evening. And this is all inspired by the recent protests that we saw on display last weekend at the Manchester United and Liverpool game. Fans decided to storm the field.
Whew, boy, did they.
Nothing like that happens over here. We talk about loving our teams, this, that, and the other.
Yes, we have never seen anything stormed that way here in the United States.
The closest thing that I remember was the Bottlegate game that I was at, the Browns-Jaguars game, where they started throwing bottles and shit on the field and they had to postpone the game. That's why they have plastic bottles at sporting events now.
I think, as a long time English football fan, this isn't new, but I think there's been some added attention on the sport, right? As you guys have covered previously, and some, American money that's found its way into the sport that has only exacerbated this and not only made it a news story, but might have been the impetus for the hooligans that postponed that game on Sunday.
Well, I pointed out that not only are there all these American families, I mean, Mark Hoppus, the bassist from Blink-182, there's probably all these American minority owners that are all tied up in this. So it's not just probably a couple of people. It's probably a bunch of people that want in on this.
And indeed there are, right? So a few
Fucking
things,
ridiculous.
right? So I'm going to do my best, Saif, since he isn't here. I think I can stand my own as I'll call it soccer, right? As a soccer fan.
We have a female soccer analyst on today, so suck on that, haters.
Oh, I'm so in. So and putting my bias out there, I am also a Manchester City fan, which was why I was particularly interested in this game between Manchester United and Liverpool being played this weekend on this
yes,
past
you said
weekend.
that. So yeah, explain the interest to me.
Yes. So because of where the standings are at in the Premier League, so English Premier League soccer, best league in the world, because Man City sits at the very top of that, it's really just a matter of point differential at this point. We're going to be the champions. It's just a matter of when do we get that trophy. And the potential existed that if Manchester United shit the bed against Liverpool in this game, we technically would have been the winners by default, simply by a matter of points couldn't be gained to reach us. But I get up bright and early for this game, and I see breaking news that the fans have stormed Old Trafford, which is their stadium, and taken to the pitch and completely demolished it. With everything from fireworks to flares to...
So there's some divots out there.
Oh, yeah. And I was hopeful they could clean that up. I was hopeful they could clean that up and get started, but frankly, that wasn't going to take place. And really, it was the Manchester United fans were protesting the family that Saif had brought up in a previous episode, the Glazers, who own the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and also own Manchester United.
But not Jay Glazer, not related to Jay Glazer.
Yeah, did we confirm that to be
yes,
true? Also, I'm
related.
not sure if you guys confirmed when he mentioned Malcolm Glazer. Malcolm Glazer is dead, so I wouldn't go to him for real estate information, but
okay.
But the Glazer family does still own Manchester United, and that's been an issue for English football fans of the team for a long time. Not just the commercialization of it, but because they bought all the shares of it. And so, one of the things about English football is that the people have always had some level of a stake in their teams.
Like the Packers?
This isn't the trend. Yeah, that's exactly what I use as an example. When the people get to be partial owners in the team, that's very much the same in English football, where the fans matter to that level. And so they were angry and they wanted to claim their stake on this. And so it really brings up, though, that notion of how do you appropriately, if I should even put that word next to protest? Because a lot of the commentary that came out was, we get that the fans are upset, we get that the fans wanted to be heard, but was this appropriate? Well, they stopped a game. I also hear that some of the police, or at least one of the police officers, did get a gash across his face. Like, that probably sucks. But at the end of the day, if the fans were just as vocal as they were prior, would anything change? Could they effectuate change? Or did they have to storm the gates of that stadium and get a major English Football League game canceled, which, by the way, is not as easy as playing the next day. They haven't been able to reschedule that game because of the way that schedules work for English football.
Interessante.
I know, right? And so, arguably, the protest worked to make their voices heard?
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's arguable, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that's always the argument with protesting. Is it effective? Does it work?
I guess if you see change, right? If you see the change that you're seeking. So in the Browns game, the Bottlegate incident, they still overturned that first down. So they did not get the outcome that they were seeking when they were throwing glass bottles at the refs.
So then, though, that begs the question, do we stop protesting or do we keep protesting and keep trying for change?
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. And it seems like when you push hard enough, you do get the change that you want. But then when is too much, or when does it become too much?
Yeah, there's always consequences, right? I feel this as a female, and we've probably talked about this on previous episodes, where, you know, without it being in the notion of a protest being part of a larger group, but simply just trying to be heard, that I find so often that in order to be effectively heard, if I am calm and intelligible and not emotional, especially by my male counterparts, but not just them. I mean, it's females too. And the question immediately, you know, becomes like, why do we have to listen to her? Until I am emotional, I am loud, I create my own protest, even if it's a single person protesting, and then suddenly people are paying attention. And now I'll be honest, I am a loud and animated person, but it's not always my preference. Yes, but not always my preference to have to communicate everything and anything that I stand for by being over the top, you know? So it makes me wonder about protesters, and not all of them, but like, do they feel like they have to be that loud and boisterous in order to get heard? Do they want to be? Is it a last resort?
So it has to be to some degree, because I relate to this on a more personal level. If we tie this back to the teeing off episode a couple of weeks ago, when this guy hit me, I immediately could have chosen violence as well, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like, what would it have gotten me? Like, oh, what? The cashier in this gas station knows not to fuck with me now? Like, what? Like, yeah, that's not going to get me anywhere. And so it's almost like knowing when to choose your battles, I guess.
For sure. Yes.
So, for example, if you see a bunch of Capitol Police officers that are just going to let you storm in, then go ahead. Wear your fucking buffalo hat and storm the fucking Capitol. You know? You see a window, go for it. You fucking crazy bastards.
Yeah, I do. I have such mixed feelings because I think there is such a rhetoric that gets put on the vocalization of people when they raise their voices and protest, and even violence. We glorify violence to no end in this culture.
Absolutely.
But as soon as
the counter protests are violent.
Yes. But as soon as there's any dissent or, you know, something that feels out of control and not within the structural confines of a society, suddenly
Law and order.
Yes. And all of a sudden we use that excuse. And I'm like, wait a minute. Right? Like, how can we be like super okay with violence in all of these areas, but all of a sudden you're feeling uncomfortable because I've raised my voice and I am saying things that make you feel uncomfortable? Or I've incited violence because it's the only way you'll hear me. I wish that wasn't the case, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I think there's people we see as part of protests that probably are doing it for the sake of being a part of it. There will always be that fringe capacity of humans. Like, that's just going to exist everywhere. But
it's the monkey brains.
Yes, right? Just reactive and tribal by nature and just going to, outburst. That's cool. But do we think that those folks who are really trying to be heard and send a message where most of these protests stem from want to be violent? Like, I fundamentally don't think so. I think they want to be heard.
Yeah.
I mean, because think about it. That's a lot of work to have to get, like, bloody and hit some people and take some tear gas in the face. Like, nobody wants to actually do that.
Correct. And that's where
protests are dirty. Like, there's so much litter. Honestly, so much litter.
Mm-hmm.
Greta Thunberg would be so mad.
She's so disappointed in all of us.
She's so disappointed in all of our protesting for all of the trash and environmental impact of our protesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that tear gas can't be good for the ozone, right?
Oh, absolutely not.
Is the ozone even a thing still, T?
Oh, I don't know. I think at the turn of the century, everybody just forgot about it, right?
Yeah.
They fixed it, so it's cool. They put some duct tape on it. It's fine.
That trash rocket is flying through it, though.
Well, yeah.
Nothing's stopping that trash rocket.
Nope. Absolutely
not. When
not.
are you guys launching, by the way?
Well, Elon just brought back some people from space, so...
Yeah, okay.
We're one trip closer. I'm excited for it, as long as nobody protests us blasting our junk into the sun.
But ain't that it, though, right? There will always be protesters about everything. Always.
So, the unanswered question here is, when is it effective, or how is it effective? Or do we have an answer?
I guess we probably don't, right? So here's where I've always struggled is there's power in numbers. That's what they tell you. And so that's the idea of protesting, right? You bring people together and you create that concept of a mob and voices united to stand behind something. And I can appreciate that.
Like, don't make us get violent kind of thing?
Yeah.
So it's
right?
just we're threatening each other.
There is. MLK, not to invoke some, some MLK knowledge here, but one of the things that he was notorious for using was young children on the front lines, right? Like, they used emotional appeal in their protests because they understood that so much of protesting was about the perception of it. And so stick small children on the front lines and then maybe they won't get fire hosed and attacked by dogs. They still did. Spoiler alert. For the 5-year-olds.
Jesus Christ.
The 5-year-olds that are listening.
Again, why are 5-year-olds listening to this?
I don't know, T. That was the demographic that I targeted. We all spread out, and we all said we were going to spread the message about this, and somehow I ended up with the 5-year-olds. So I don't know why that was the group I got. But
you're passing out business cards at the child care.
But I'm passing out business cards at the local daycare. Okay?
Christ.
Which is the worst because I don't have children. What am I doing at a daycare? God, that's even worse.
You just drank one too many bottles of wine and ended up
that
here.
Was and it looked like black sheep to me, right? Oh my God, that's not black sheep.
I walked in the
Shout
wrong
out
door.
Downtown Glendale.
Here's some cards.
Here's some business cards anyways, kids. Call me if you need, right? And there's no number on there, bummer. Good for you guys because you get a lot of 5-year-old phone calls.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, so honestly though, like, I don't remember where we were at. This is one too many bottles of wine, T. But
it's a good place to end it right there before we get too far off the rails. That is probably a great place to end it. I think Saif would appreciate that. We pounded out a good episode here.
Yeah, that was a total safe segue there.
Yeah.
Hey, can I sidebar on the end of this? Can we do a
Absolutely.
bonus really quick?
Yeah.
Okay, because I think you might be able to help me with this.
Mm-hmm.
This comes back to the Super League business.
Mm-hmm.
And a term that I learned recently about Manchester United when the Glazer family bought that team. So again, we're still talking protests because the people are still angry.
Yes.
And back in 2005, when the Glazer family started buying all the shares of this team. And the Manchester United fans were just beyond themselves. They were just like, they couldn't handle this. They started what is referred to by the term as a Phoenix Club. Are you familiar with this term?
No.
I know. I wasn't either. Okay. So I had to educate myself recently. And the concept of a Phoenix Club, now they say there is not an overarching like definition of it, but loosely the definition of a Phoenix Club has nothing to do with Phoenix, Arizona, everything to do with the concept of a Phoenix Rising, where they wanted to disown Manchester United as the team that they always knew and start what was referred to as a Phoenix Club, which was going to be this whole new start, even though it like wasn't a league club, it had no players.
Can we call it Manchester Rising? And can it be
they called it something like that.
Can it be a sister team like that, to the Phoenix Rising?
It was real weird. It was so weird, whatever they decided to call it.
Well, but I mean, that's literally your fucking MLS team's name.
No,
so.
I know, but listen, this is where it comes down to you and your knowledge. I promise. So the other usage of the term Phoenix Club, like if you were going to put it in American sports terms, was explained to me that it was the Cleveland Browns. When the Cleveland Browns went to Baltimore and they took the whole team, management team, everything, but wiped the record clear of the new Baltimore Ravens. So they didn't get to bring the Cleveland Browns record with them, even though it was the team, the management, everything was the same. They were just in Baltimore, right? But they renamed it Baltimore Ravens. They said, oh, okay, but then the Phoenix Club, what would be referred to as that term, was when they created the new Cleveland Browns. Different team, different management, different everything. And then gave them the record of the old team that technically was the new Baltimore Ravens.
Yep. Because
that's
fuck
crazy.
them. Well, fuck them. You don't get to take off on us and take your fucking records. You don't get to take off and keep your records. No. That's not how it works.
So basically, this adds zero clarity to the term Phoenix Club, but I just wanted you to know that they tried to speak to me in American football terms to help me understand Phoenix Club by showing me Cleveland Browns becoming Baltimore Ravens, and I had no idea, and I was just curious. T, how do you feel about this? You feel
that's
it's
a huge sore spot.
I imagine.
Oh, them leaving was a huge sore spot. It was total bullshit.
Did you protest it?
I was very young, so no.
You weren't 5 and listening to a prolific podcast that was super woke like this one?
No, I don't know. I wonder when the first podcast came out. I don't know if podcasts were a thing back then.
God, I thought you were so young, T. I was giving you more credit.
I mean, I'm young. I just let's see.
All those glamour muscles. Don't get me started. We're going to go on 13 different things on this short teeing off. By the way, everyone, T taught me that term tonight, too. Not trying to give away my age, but I'm a little older and had no idea what glamour muscles were.
Oh, I got that from Always Sunny.
Yeah, I'm sure you get everything from there.
Or South Park.
Which, by the way, and this is it, I'll let you wrap it here, is... Remember we had, speaking of protests, this isn't, but I'm just trying to tie it in. Joe Rogan's podcast, right? They cover everything you guys have covered because I'm pretty sure he's listening to this podcast, right?
Oh, I don't think that you've ever actually brought that up on this show. So if you want to actually delve into that a little bit here, feel free.
Yeah. Okay. So honestly, not a regular listener of Joe Rogan podcast. I just happen to live in a household that does. And I overhear things all the time that I'm like, excuse me, trash rockets and T, you'll have to help me out on the other things. Oh, aliens, all kinds of things. Oh, jizzing in rocks.
Right.
Like, and these are some pretty specific things to Catch the Sky podcast. They are exclusives. And then they show up on Joe Rogan's podcast later?
Like, what? And it was only within like a few weeks, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
absolutely. The jizzing in the rocks was the most interesting thing. And the trash rockets. But jizzing in the rocks, it's like, come on.
That's pretty specific.
That's an episode title. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was listening recently. Oh, my God, my brain is blanking right now. But I had another one of those moments where I was like, excuse me, Joe Rogan, are you listening to Catch the Sky? because I'm pretty sure T just covered this. What were we just talking about before I went on this tangent? Because it was exactly that. And you guys had just been talking about it. And it was Always Sunny. So, yeah, you guys cover Always Sunny all the time.
Mhm.
And then Joe Rogan has Andrew Santino on his show the other day. And in the course of that conversation, they do this huge shout out to Always Sunny and how it's prolific and how it's been on the air forever and how it's got, new seasons are coming. And I was like, oh, I got to text the boys this because Joe Rogan has stolen your content yet again. Yet again.
Joe, don't think that we're not onto you, but if you see our episode previous to this, we just don't give a fuck.
You're welcome.
We
Joe
hear
Rogan.
you. We hear what's going
you.
on. We see what's going on. Our site's pretty good too.
But we're growing. And so, you know what, Joe? Thank you. We're laughing at you. We're laughing at you for being the second to this topic. Because we were there first.
We're running laps on you, bro.
For sure.
If you ever want to pair up,
all those glamour muscles. T's got better glamour muscles than Joe Rogan.
That's right. That's right.
For the record.
I do. Have your people get a hold of my people, which are me, because I handle my own shit. So if you care to get a hold of me directly, I am at CTS Terry on Twitter, or you may find me on Instagram or Facebook by searching for the Catch the Sky podcast. Dick, you are on Twitter, and it is I'm
Dick Francisco. So I am Dick Francisco. That's the letter I. That's the letter M. Dick Francisco.
Nice.
And on Instagram at the Dick Francisco. And for the record, on this show, we Google our own shit. We don't need an extra dude to do it for us.
We don't have any interns or anything like that.
Although you want them, right? We're trying to find those, right?
Well, yeah, Saif's been pushing it real hard, but I'm very stubborn and don't want anyone handling my art.
That's fair.
So
I'm no help because I'm only communicating with 5-year-olds.
No prodigies or anything that you've run into recently?
You don't know. That might be why I'm tapping that demographic. Starting them young.
Jesus Christ. This is going to just feed into a whole QAnon segment. So, Melissa Rein Lively, if you're listening, feel free to jump in at any point. She doesn't give a fuck about this.
Melissa.
She doesn't give a fuck about this, but we can tag her in it.
She doesn't.
We can tag her in it just to fuck with her.
Please do.
I probably will.
That'll make me laugh, right? As we continue to grow, T, that'll make me laugh.
Oh, man, we just need to keep laughing every day. That's all.
That's it.
So until next week, everybody, keep trying to catch the sky. Woo.